Have you ever met someone who left you feeling drained without saying a word? Have you walked away from a conversation and felt like you gave away something you couldn't name, but desperately needed? The most dangerous people in your life won't arrive with weapons. They come with smiles. Carl Jung understood this. He knew the greatest threats we face don't wear masks of violence. They wear masks of kindness, charm, even love. According to Jung, the people who truly harm us aren't always evil in the traditional sense. They're dangerous because they are unconscious, and the unconscious, when unacknowledged, becomes a hidden weapon. One that wounds not only the person who carries it, but everyone around them. These people aren't just out there. They're close, partners, friends, colleagues, family. You don't just meet them, you bond with them, and that's what makes them so destructive. Jung spent decades exploring the human psyche, and what he uncovered wasn't just academic, it was urgent. He saw how unconscious drives, envy, manipulation, repression, self-hatred could twist relationships and fracture souls. He warned, if we fail to recognize these patterns in others, we pay for it. With our peace, our energy, sometimes even our identity. Danger doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers sweet things in your ear. In today's world of forced positivity, we're taught to see the best in everyone. But Jung would say that's not just naive, it's dangerous, not because people are inherently evil, but because they are fragmented. And a fragmented person who refuses to look inward will eventually project their chaos outward, onto you. The people you must avoid aren't always malicious. They're often wounded. But when wounds are denied, they become weapons. What makes them truly dangerous is their ability to make you doubt yourself. They can wear the costume of the victim, the hero, or the lover. But underneath, something unconscious is pulling the strings. This is why Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The same applies to those around you. Until you recognize the unconscious patterns they live by, you'll keep mistaking their toxicity for fate, for misfortune, or worse, for love. You'll forgive the one who always makes you feel small because they didn't mean it. You'll excuse the one who constantly drains you because they're going through something. You'll justify the manipulations because they had a rough childhood. And piece by piece, you'll give away parts of your soul, trying to solve a puzzle that was never yours to fix. Here's the truth. Some people will only love the version of you that doesn't challenge them, that doesn't threaten their ego, that doesn't reflect the shadow they refuse to see. And the moment you begin to become whole, the moment you set boundaries, speak truth, shine light, they will either retreat or retaliate. Jung didn't believe in labeling people as bad. He believed in understanding the forces that control them. And through that lens, we're going to explore the 6 types of dangerous people he'd urge you to avoid. Not with hate, but with clarity. Because this isn't a lesson in judgment. It's a call for discernment. Before we name these 6 types, ask yourself, who in your life makes you feel unsure of your worth? Who gently twists reality until you no longer trust your own perception? Who do you forgive again and again? Because facing the truth would destroy the relationship entirely. These questions are uncomfortable, but they are necessary. Jung believed the shadow, the hidden, repressed part of the psyche, is not just personal, it's relational. It shapes how we treat others and how we allow others to treat us. So when you understand these 6 archetypes of danger, you're not just protecting yourself, you're waking up. You're breaking free from the belief that love means endurance, that loyalty means tolerance, and that kindness means never walking away. You deserve to feel safe in the presence of another human being. You deserve to be seen, not just used, needed, or tolerated. And more than anything, you deserve to live without the constant self-doubt planted by someone else's chaos. The journey ahead will be intense, but liberating. Each of the 6 people we'll explore represents a psychological distortion Jung spent his life studying. You may recognize them in others. You may even see parts of them in yourself. That's okay. This isn't about blame. It's about becoming conscious. Because the moment you can name what's hurting you, you begin to free yourself from it. In the next section, we begin this path of illumination. We'll meet the first 3 types of dangerous people. The ones who drain your energy, distort your truth, and feed off your silence. But for now, take a deep breath. You are not alone in this awakening, and the truth you're about to face might just save your soul. Let's begin with the first 3. These aren't cartoon villains. They don't announce themselves, but their impact on your psyche can be profound, corrosive, and long-lasting. 1. The emotional manipulator. They rarely raise their voice. They don't have to, because they're masters of subtle control. Their weapons are guilt, confusion, and obligation. Carl Jung would say this person lives almost entirely in the unconscious. So disconnected from their true feelings, they must mold others to feel for them. And you, empathetic, introspective, emotionally open, are the perfect match. The emotional manipulator doesn't ask for help. They expect it. They won't criticize you directly, but you'll feel it in the silence, the delayed reply, the cold withdrawal. Their most dangerous tactic? Making you question your own reality. They'll say things like, "You're too sensitive." "I never said that." "You must be remembering wrong." "You always take things the wrong way." This is gaslighting, a form of psychological warfare. Jung might describe it as a projection of their inner chaos. Unable to face their own darkness, they cast it onto you. And if you're not aware, you'll internalize it. You'll believe you're the problem. But here's the truth. When someone truly loves you, you feel more grounded in yourself, not less. The emotional manipulator is dangerous, not because they hate you, but because they need you to doubt yourself. That's how they stay in control. And that's how you slowly disappear. 2. The eternal victim. This person lives in a world where everything happens to them. Always the wrong party, never the wrongdoer. At first, you'll feel compassion for their pain. You'll listen, support, try to help. But over time, you'll realize nothing ever changes. According to Jung, the victim archetype emerges when someone refuses to confront their own shadow. Instead of owning their failures, regrets, or shortcomings, they project them outward. Every job was toxic. Every friend betrayed them. Every relationship was one-sided, except it never is. What makes the eternal victim so dangerous is their emotional gravity. They pull you into their pain and ask you to carry it. And when you offer solutions or gently suggest accountability, they turn on you. You become just like the others. This dynamic is especially harmful if you carry a savior complex, if you grew up needing to fix others to earn love. Because this person will feel familiar, but it's a trap. You can't heal someone who is addicted to their suffering. Jung taught that transformation requires consciousness, but the eternal victim resists consciousness at all costs, because awareness means responsibility, and responsibility means change. You don't owe your life to someone who refuses to grow. 3. The envious underminer. You share good news, they go quiet. You achieve something. They make a subtle joke, you feel joy. They remind you why it might not last. This person might be a friend, a colleague, even a family member. But behind their smile lurks a quiet resentment. Jung believed envy is one of the most potent, yet unspoken, forces in human relationships. And when it's unconscious, it becomes poison. The envious underminer can't celebrate others because your success reminds them of what they lack. Instead of facing that discomfort, they diminish you. Not loudly, but with carefully chosen words, backhanded compliments, or sudden emotional distance. You got lucky. That's nice. But have you thought about what could go wrong? Wow, you're really changing. Don't forget where you came from. These comments seem small, but their effect is cumulative. Over time, you start to shrink yourself so others can feel comfortable. You hide your joy, downplay your victories, dim your light. And that's exactly what the envious underminer wants, because your growth threatens their illusion of control. Jung would say this person is projecting their disowned potential. They see in you what they've denied in themselves, and rather than doing the work, they want you to feel guilty for shining. But here's the truth. No one who truly loves you will resent your evolution. They'll rise with you. These three dangerous personalities, the emotional manipulator, the eternal victim, and the envious underminer, have one thing in common. They are unconscious of their own shadow. And when someone refuses to meet their own darkness, they make it your problem. It's not your job to be their mirror. It's not your job to absorb their projection. And it's not your destiny to stay small so others feel safe. Jung once said, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. And that includes blaming you, breaking you, and abandoning you when you no longer serve their illusion. You owe it to yourself to step away, not with anger, but with clarity. In the next section, we'll explore the final three dangerous types. These are the ones who disguise control as care, who wear the mask of wisdom, and who confuse intensity with intimacy. Their impact cuts even deeper, because they wrap harm in the language of love. But remember this, the more you recognize these patterns, the less power they have over you, and that is how awakening begins. In the previous section, we revealed three dangerous personalities rooted in unconscious projection, those who manipulate, victimize, and envy. But now, we go deeper, because some of the most harmful people appear wise, nurturing, even romantic, until you look closer. Let's dive into the final three Jungian archetypes you must recognize before they dismantle your spirit from the inside out. 4. The charismatic narcissist. At first glance, they're magnetic. They listen with just enough interest, speak with just enough vulnerability, and create a bond that feels intoxicating. You feel seen, chosen, like you've finally found someone who gets you. But Carl Jung warned us about the inflated ego, the person who appears whole, yet lives in denial of the unconscious. The charismatic narcissist doesn't want love. They want devotion. They don't want you. They want a reflection, a mirror for their power, their charm, their illusion. In Jungian terms, they've fused with the false self, a mask designed to protect the fragile shadow underneath. Here's the danger. They'll idealize you just long enough to own you. And once they do, the mask slips. Admiration turns into criticism. Clarity becomes confusion. They rewrite the story. You were never enough. You changed. You disappointed me. You begin to question yourself again. But this was never a relationship. It was a performance. And you were the stage, the scariest part. They often believe their own lies. Jung would remind us, the ego that refuses to admit its shadow becomes tyrannical. And tyrants don't just break hearts, they break identities. 5. The smothering savior. They're always there. They help before you even ask. They anticipate your needs, fix your problems, and call it love. But something feels off. You start feeling smaller, weaker, dependent. This person could be a partner, a parent, a mentor. But their care comes with a hidden price. Jung described the inflated rescuer, someone who needs to save others so they never have to save themselves. Their help isn't rooted in love. It's rooted in fear. Fear of being irrelevant. Fear of being abandoned. Fear of losing control. They thrive when you are in crisis. Your confusion makes them feel wise. Your pain makes them feel important. But the moment you find your strength, they resist. They undermine your progress. They express concern, plant doubts, and remind you how much you owe them. This isn't conscious cruelty, it's unconscious insecurity. And Jung would urge you to see the truth. Their love is conditional. As long as you stay beneath them, they're warm, supportive, devoted. But when you rise, when you no longer need saving, they feel betrayed. This is not support. It's codependence disguised as compassion. 6. The passionate destroyer. This one is the most seductive and the most dangerous. They don't manipulate with guilt or silence. They explode into your life like wildfire. The chemistry is instant. The conversations are deep. The connection feels fated. You think you've found your soulmate. But Jung would call this animus possession, when the ideal image of a partner takes over your psyche and blinds you to reality. The passionate destroyer doesn't love you. They love the intensity, the drama, the highs and lows, the chaos. They mistake conflict for closeness, emotional volatility for soul bonding. At first, they're overwhelmingly devoted. No one's ever made me feel this way. We were meant to meet. I've never opened up to anyone like this. But soon the passion becomes poison. The highs are euphoric. The lows, devastating. You begin to confuse anxiety for desire, jealousy for depth, possessiveness for care. But this isn't love, it's enmeshment, a toxic dance of trauma and projection, not connection, not intimacy, not truth. And Carl Jung warned us, relationships built on projection will always collapse, under the weight of their unmet expectations. This person isn't dangerous because they intend to harm you. They're dangerous because they awaken your unhealed patterns. And when you finally step back, you'll see it wasn't destiny. It was trauma in disguise. Let's pause here. These 6 types, the manipulator, the martyr, the underminer, the narcissist, the savior, the destroyer, they're not inherently evil. They are unconscious, trapped in loops of pain, projection, and avoidance. But that doesn't make them any less harmful. Jung once wrote, "Your perception will become clear only when you can look into your soul. They cannot do that, so they distort yours instead." But now, you see, and when you truly see, you're no longer a victim of their games. Now that you've seen their faces, a more terrifying truth remains. What if you've loved one of them? What if the person you trusted the most wore one of these masks? Or worse, what if you recognize yourself in them? Most people stop here. They turn away, because this kind of truth threatens everything: their identity, their values, their story of what love is supposed to be. But Carl Jung taught something radical. Self-protection isn't selfish, and awareness is a form of love. The path forward begins here. Step 1, own your patterns. Jung once said, "We cannot change anything unless we accept it." Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. You may have attracted these people not because you're broken, but because you were unaware of your own unmet needs. Did you chase approval, hoping someone would finally see you? Did you stay in chaos because it mirrored your childhood home? Did you keep helping because your worth was tied to being needed? When you own your patterns, you take back the power to rewrite them. The enemy isn't the person who hurt you. The enemy is the illusion you were taught to believe. That love must be earned, suffered for, or proven through pain. You don't need to hate the manipulator to walk away. You don't need to rescue the destroyer to feel worthy. You only need to recognize the game and step off the board. Step 2. Boundaries are sacred, not cold. One of Jung's most misunderstood truths is this: your boundaries aren't walls to keep people out. They're banks of a river. They keep you from overflowing, drowning in everyone else's emotions. With boundaries, your love has direction, your compassion has flow, your energy has purpose. To avoid dangerous people, you must stop entertaining dangerous patterns. Say no when your body says no. Walk away when clarity disappears. Believe actions over words. Believe patterns over promises. Release guilt when someone reacts poorly to your truth. You don't owe your softness to those who weaponize it. Kindness without boundaries is self-betrayal. But kindness with discernment, that's power. Step 3. Learn to see without rescuing. It's tempting. To heal them. To see the wounded child in the narcissist. To stay because you understand their trauma. But Jung warned, the greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parent. Don't become the emotional parent of someone who refuses to grow. You can see their pain without carrying it. You can understand them without tolerating them. You can love them from a distance. Rescuing someone from themselves isn't love, it's avoidance. Avoidance of your own discomfort, your fear of being alone, your belief that suffering makes you good. Real love says, I see your pain, but I will not let it destroy me. Step 4. Choose wholeness over familiarity. People often return to these archetypes, not because they enjoy the pain, but because the pain feels familiar, the chaos, the drama, the emotional starvation. It mirrors what they knew in childhood. But you are not here to repeat your origin story. You are here to rewrite it. Wholeness means choosing relationships that don't demand your fragmentation. It means choosing calm over chaos, honesty over confusion, security over adrenaline, mutual respect over one-sided devotion. Wholeness doesn't feel like fireworks. It feels like a warm, steady flame. And sometimes that steadiness feels boring to a nervous system addicted to danger. But often, boredom is peace in disguise. Step 5. Become who you needed. Jung didn't just teach us how to avoid the unconscious. He taught us how to become conscious. You stop attracting dangerous people when you stop being a match for their games. You don't just cut them out. You cut out the parts of you that accepted crumbs, justified red flags, and called suffering love. You become someone who honors silence over manipulation, seeks clarity over chaos, chooses peace, even if it means being alone. And when you do, you stop attracting those who feed on unconsciousness. Let's end here with a paradox. You must learn to love without losing yourself. You must learn to walk away without turning bitter. You must learn to forgive without returning to what broke you. This is the heart of Jungian transformation. Not fixing others, but awakening yourself. So if you see yourself in this story, if you've loved these people, been hurt by them, or even acted like them, let it not be your shame. Let it be your awakening. Because once you see these 6 archetypes for what they truly are, they lose their power. And when they lose their power, you reclaim yours.